I thirst. Two simple words that have such powerful meaning. I thirst. And this was Jesus' fifth word from the cross. When he uttered these words, it was said that a soldier took a long stick, or staff, I guess, put some hyssop on it, and then dipped that into some sour wine, and then it was given to him, and they had to reach up and give it to him. And then he took it and found some relief. Don't we all need relief sometimes? After you have been suffering? For Christians, for believers in Christ, suffering is a part of the walk, right? Take up your cross and follow me. If you want to have any part of Jesus and the kingdom, you take up your cross, which means you're going to take up a burden. There's going to be some suffering that you're going to have to go through. And that suffering is hard. When that suffering weighs on your mind, when it weighs on your body, when it weighs on your spirit, when it gets you so weighed down in terms of the work that you have to do. It's the reason why they say 50% of pastors burn out in the first year. It's a weight. Having that burden, having a suffering is a weight that many of us don't want to bear, but it's one that as believers we are called to bear if we're going to walk out this Christian walk, if we're going to be Christ-like, if we're going to represent his kingdom and be a light. It's a tough thing to have to deal with. Matter of fact, when you look at suffering, I don't know if there's any faith tradition that's out there, even outside of Christianity, that does not speak to some element of suffering. It's a universal condition. Everyone endures suffering at some point. But what happens when the suffering is so heavy and so severe and you have no relief and there's no refuge? Here it is, Jesus, he has been beaten, he has been scourged, he's bleeding, he's suffocating. He is at the ultimate place of suffering. Remember, this is not even the first time they were looking to kill him. This happened before. But now this time of death is here. A man who had been rejected and despised is now hanging on the cross in the ultimate state of humiliation and despair. And all he wants is something to drink. All he wants is something just to end the pain. All he wants is something just to make it all stop. Have you ever been there? Where you are so hurt, you are so downcast, you are so depressed, you are so over it, that you just wanted this to end. Something has to give, something has to stop. I thirst for relief. Yeah. This makes me think about persons who experience suicidal thoughts. These persons don't really want to die. In fact, when you speak to most survivors of suicide, they don't really want to die. They did not want to die, but they did want the pain to end. See, suicide is not about death. It's about life. It's about the pain of life. It's about their thirst for having the pain end and not seeing any other way to end it. They now thirst for death. To a degree. Again, not really wanting to die, but I do need this pain to end. I also think about the men and women who we call thirsty out here. They always need attention. They always trying to get into something. You always trying to get the tea, but wouldn't you be thirsty for that type of attention if your basic and your psychological needs have not been met? When we look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we have our basic needs first, right? We need food, we need shelter, we need water, we need rest, we need security, and we need safety. How do you act when your basic needs have not been met, when you don't have enough food to be able to take care of yourself or your family, when you live in rundown conditions where your homes are moldy, there's infestation, and no one seems to want to come and help and take care of it, when your house is going into foreclosure, when you can't seem to rest because of not only the conditions of your home, but mentally you're so weighed down with everything that's going on, your mind never turns on. What do we do? What if this happens? 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 There's no sense of physical rest. There's no sense of mental rest. Wouldn't you be thirsty? What about the person that has those things? I have the food, I have the shelter, but I don't feel safe. Because how I've been hurt before. Because of how I have been violated before. Whether it happened to me physically, whether it happened to me emotionally, where I've been betrayed, I don't have rest. I don't have security. I can't feel safe with anyone because I can't trust anybody. Those basic needs make you thirsty for something more. And sometimes you may find yourself doing things that you never imagined doing. So that's why they steal. That's why they cheat. That's why they consider suicide. That could even be the reason why they're being nosy. Not just to have the tea, but sometimes just to hear, do you suffer the way I suffer? Maybe looking for someone to bond with them in that place. Is your life maybe going better? So maybe in this moment, I can live vicariously through you and have hope that maybe someday for me, this can change, because right now what I thirst for, there's nothing there to quench it. And what about those persons that don't belong? We're designed to live in community. And we're not talking about those persons who are just loners. They just enjoy stealing away to themselves, spending time with themselves, and they're really okay. But the people who don't have a group to belong to, no sense of connection. I can be in a crowd of people and still be lonely. And I thirst for someone to understand me. I thirst for someone to walk with me. I thirst for someone to grab me and say, I see you. I understand you. I want you. And sometimes when that need is not being met well, that desire to belong, they may become a little promiscuous. We may call them attention whores when they're really just trying to belong. They thirst for something more. They're more than just desperate people, but they're living in despair, and they're just trying to find a way for these things to end, for a better life. So what do we do? How do we help these thirsty people? I never would have thought that I would have said, well, we can look at the Roman soldier for an example, but we can. Let's look at what happened. Jesus is on the cross in agony, and he said, I thirst. So the first thing that we have to do in our flesh and human condition is acknowledge where we are thirsty. I need water. I need rest. I need security. And we keep calling for it until we find someone to have compassion for us. Not pity. Compassion means that I not only see your condition, but I am moved to help change it. So, you call out and you acknowledge, I need rest. I need food. I need shelter. Then we take on the responsibility of those who see it, and we say, okay, I can make you a meal. I can teach you how to cook. I can teach your kids how to cook. I can take you to a food shelter. You can come and stay at my house for a few days. I can't let you stay forever, but I can get you to my home. I can help you get to a homeless shelter. In fact, I can help you fight the housing conditions. that lead to black mold, that are leading to the rodents and the infestations in your home. I can help you fight that so that you can have better living conditions for yourself and for your children. We need to become empathetic to the call of those who are thirsty and help them fight the fight so that they know they are not in it alone. And this is a way that we can help other people quench their thirst and end their despair. You need to call out and say, I thirst. I need community. I'm all by myself. I am that lone wolf. And I don't want to be alone anymore. That can sound so desperate as we speak about despair. It can sound embarrassing. But what happens when that person comes along who's also been in your shoes, who says, I understand loneliness. I understand what it means to not belong. I was once thirsty too. And this is how I quenched my thirst. I joined this group. I joined that group. I went to that church. And I found a place in a community of people who did not judge me, who did not misunderstand me. They understood me, and they met my need. They helped me to see the value in myself. They helped me to see that my struggle was not uniquely mine, but this is something that everyone experiences. And when I did that, I've now come into my own man. I've come into my own being. I've come into my own. That's the top tier of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-actualization. Can we take the time and be empathetic to someone today who's thirsty instead of beating them down? Everyone needs help. Everybody needs somebody. Let us take care of their need today. Food, shelter, water, rest, safety, security, basic needs. Then a sense of belonging, a sense of connection, being a part of community. That's a psychological need. When we can take care of their basic needs and we can take care of their psychological needs, then they can reach a place of self-actualization and find that their thirst has now been quenched. Keep this in mind.